Hey y'all, this is Amanda and welcome back to my Texas Donate a Garden, and today we are preparing for spring 2024 by starting a bunch of begonias from seed. Okay, so begonias are a love-hate relationship for me. Not a fan of wax begonias. I do love tuberous begonias, which tend to be doubles and really frilly and just ornate and wow factor blooms. I don't love just the basic wax begonias that you can get to put in your garden, although I understand their appeal as they do really well in my area. But I've been wanting to grow a lot of the tuberous ones for quite a while, and they tend to be quite pricey in the nurseries. And so I started researching about how and if I could grow them from seed. And you absolutely can grow begonias from seed, both wax and tuberous begonias, and then you can also grow them through propagation, which is actually very popular. But I don't have any begonias right now to propagate, so we're going to start with seed. Now, begonias are known for being a little bit more difficult, a little bit more dramatic when you're growing them from seed. They take quite a while to germinate, anywhere from 15 to 60 days to germination. And since they have such a slow start to their growth, that's why I'm starting them right now in December, with the hopes that come into March, into April, or maybe even into May, depending on how long these take, I will have some blooms to plant out in my garden. But that works fine, since begonias are very sensitive to frost and cold. And so they're not something that I want to grow and then try to move out in very early spring or late winter, just because they could end up dying back after all that work of growing them. So they're not something I really want to move out until I am well past the danger of my last frost, probably into at least the second week of April. Now, my last frost typically is mid-March, but we do tend to have some cold spells throughout that next month. And so, yeah, I think just kind of holding on to them and keeping them inside for that time until they are definitely past the risk of cold weather before moving them outside. Now, you're probably wondering, how am I planning on using my begonias? I am mainly looking at utilizing them in containers for my front porch and hanging baskets. Begonias definitely prefer more shade, at least part shade, and they do struggle in the hot weather of my particular zone. So I think working them in an area like my porch would work out really well. Okay, so let's talk about the varieties that I have. Okay, so I have 3 varieties of begonias that I'm going to be starting. They were all ordered from Swallowtail Garden Seeds, which has been one of my new favorite places to order seeds. That's where I got all my petunia seeds that I've all started. Those are doing really well. I'm actually going to be doing a seed update in my next, or a seedling update in my next video. Okay, so the first variety I have is called the Illumination Mix for tuberous begonias. And this is a blend of 8 showy, bright and cheery sherbet colors: golden picotee, white, scarlet, salmon pink, apricot shades, lemon, orange, and rose. The flowers are both fully double and semi-double, and from hanging baskets spilled downward with uncommon grace. They are tuberous begonias which preferred filtered shade and moist soil. The plants do perform well even in the heat, but they definitely have to have that partial shade to them. So I ended up getting 20 pelleted seeds for $5. And if you have purchased begonias before, you know that that's an excellent price for a tuberous begonia. You can definitely buy like the tubers online quite frequently, and so that's an option too, and I might try that out later on, maybe in the earlier time of the year, try some of the tubers. I think that might be fun. But even with 20 pelleted seeds at $5, if one of them goes well, that's still a savings for me, because a lot of the more like desirable tuberous begonias that are all the fancy doubles, those are usually minimum $20 for a plant, and definitely upwards depending on how large you choose, like a hanging basket or whatever. So even if I have one come out, that'll be wonderful. Okay, the next variety I got is an Amera Hybrid Picotee Lace Pink, which is also a tuberous begonia. These picotee flowers are light colored with darker edges. It has a clear pink petals with delicate edged in white. They are enormous. The flowers are anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. Lacy double blooms appear in late spring, summer, and fall. Nicely shaped, upright plants grow 4 to 28 inches tall and 10 to 12 inches wide with lush emerald green leaves. These plant containers are in partially shaded garden beds. So these are going to be better for containers than for hanging baskets. The other one, the illumination, are going to be better for hanging baskets. This one grows more upright, but I loved this beautiful kind of pink salmon-y color. I think it'll be really fun to grow. I also got 20 seeds for $4.99. Okay, and the last variety I got is an Amera hybrid ruffled coral salmon, and these are once again really large flowers, some anywhere from like 5 to 9 inches in diameter, double flowers, have layer upon layer of frilly petals in a rich coral pink shape, nicely formed. 14 to 20 inches tall plants grow about 10 to 12 inches wide. The Amera hybrid ruffled coral salmon begonias brighten partially to fully shaded begonias brighten partially to fully shaded garden containers and beds from late spring to autumn. So these are also going to be mainly for containers, less for hanging baskets. And this also is 20 pelleted seeds, but this one was $4.49. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about begonia seeds. They literally look like dust. They are so small. That's why I was really happy to get the pelleted ones, because it'll be much easier to divide them out. They absolutely need light for germination, and so they're definitely just going to be pressed onto the top of the soil. We're not going to cover them at all. Secondly, because they take so long to germinate, anywhere from 15 to 60 days, you definitely want to keep them moist. So we're going to be putting them in a container that has a dome on it to make sure that they stay moist the entire germination process. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to be utilizing my Amazon seed starting trays. These come with a base. They come with a 12 cell tray as well that has holes in the bottom, and they come with a lid that has a humidity adjustment here. And basically, when I'm starting seeds, I like to start with dried soil, and I definitely get a lot of comments about how that's different. I know most gardeners start with moist soil. I don't know why I prefer it this way. I think it's because it's a messy thing, and I just like this better. When I'm working inside. I think that if I was outside, I'd be, much less conscious of this. But basically, I'm just going to put in the soil and press it down with my fingers and get a nice layer. Keep adding until no more goes in there. And then basically, I will add water to the base and put this in, and then it will soak up the water, and it does great for me. So we're going to go ahead and need 6 containers, so let's get those filled up. Now I'm just using my favorite BM7 potting soil mix. You can use a basic potting soil. I am trying to remove the clumps so there won't be any hindrance to the seeds. You can also use a seed starting mix. I've kind of gone away from that unless it's for a very particular seed, just because I find this process easier. And this soil, it's been out for a while, so it's been allowed to dry out quite a bit, but typically this soil is fine enough that it works great to have start seeds in it. And I like that it's less complicated than having to buy more soil, different type of soil. We're going to be starting a lot of seeds over the next 6 to 8 weeks. I'm really going to be ahead on my seed starting this year because I definitely have some varieties that take longer. And this is kind of great because with winter setting in, I don't have a lot of stuff growing in the garden, and so it's nice to have the seeds inside to kind of fuel that passion during the colder months. Okay, so I want to go ahead and fill water in these trays to kind of show you how quickly the process goes for these. By the time we finish planting all of our seeds, all of these containers will have wicked up all the water. So I fill the trays a little more than halfway with water. And then we just go ahead and put the trays in and allow them to sink down on their own accord. But they do wick up the water really quickly. Okay, so the seeds are incredibly tiny, and we have 20 pelleted seeds per variety, and so I have 24 cells, so obviously 4 of them we won't use. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the Illumination Mixed Begonia, and got them there super tiny. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to try to just take one at a time and put them in the center of each one. Now, these are, oops, I got 2 in that one. Well, that's how it's going to be, y'all. These, a lot of other gardeners I've seen like heavily seed these. This is me being super hopeful that they will all germinate. So I'm just putting 1 per container. And it looks like there's definitely more than 20 seeds. So I'm going to double up on a few of them. I would say there's oh, I was supposed to put them into this. Godly. Oh, it takes me a little bit, you guys, sometimes. Let me see. Okay, so I forgot, and I should have put the extra ones up here. So I've got a pair of tweezers. Let's see if I can move some of these over. So there were 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So there are 22 seeds. And all I'm going to do is put in my tags. And then I'm going to go ahead and top these, making sure that the vent is closed. And then these are going to go directly behind me. Okay, this package also had 22 seeds. Okay, so feeling really good about that. Now, a couple of different things that I saw from other gardeners who are starting. Some of them would put the coated seeds, the pelleted seeds, in the refrigerator for just the night before sowing them, because they felt like the coldness helped break down the coating. I've never had any issues with the coating breaking down. As soon as water hits it, it immediately melts right away. And so I haven't really struggled with that, so I did not do that on this process. Okay, so we are going to be setting up heating pads, heat mats for these. They do need to be about 80 degrees in order to germinate. My house is typically kept at about 70 to 72, and then as we get into the winter, we do drop down to about 67 to 68. And so let's go ahead and set up those heat mats. Okay, they're all set up on their heat mats with the domes on and the vents closed. Okay, super happy to have that process done. Now, once again, reminder, these take a long time for germination. I will try to give updates on social media, but then I'll probably do another like seedling update in each month as we're going along. So like in January, come back and evaluate all the seeds that I started and things like that, just to kind of keep you guys updated. But the begonias have to go ahead and be started so that they are ready to go for spring. Just like the petunias, they take quite a while to get going. I think I'm also going to do some research in ordering some of the tubers to grow. They're a little bit more pricey, but the thing about tuberous begonias is that once you get them started, you can basically divide the tubers over time and have multiple plants going for quite a while. I would also like to, if this goes well, I would like to save all of these tubers at the end of fall and beginning of winter and keep them all inside and then restart them for the spring, which I think would be fabulous, especially because the tubers would continue to get bigger and more lush over the years. All right, you all, I hope you enjoyed today's video. A little bit different for me with the begonia seeds, very new to me. I'm excited. We have a lot more seeds that we're going to be starting over the next 6 to 8 weeks. Can't wait to show you all. If you have grown begonias from seed before, drop your comments below. Let us know if you have any tips, comments, or concerns. And let us know how you got the best results, or if you struggled with some of your results. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know my latest videos are up, and be sure to check me out on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.